On this episode of the Pop Culture Decoded Show, we take a look at all of the fantasy Easter eggs in the trailer for Pixar's new movie, Onward, and we discuss what makes Bong Joon-Ho such a great director.
So we're going to start today with Pixar's first official trailer for their new film, Onward. I'm really excited about this film. Their level of details and like Easter eggs are always great, and it seems like there are a lot of like hidden things that people didn't notice. Do you want to go through them?
Yeah, definitely. So this is one of the first shots in the trailer. We got a new look at Chris Pratt's character, Barley. His jean jacket's covered in these fake band names that are fantasy themed. So you can see Smote right here. It says Hydra, and there's one that says Hades over here. He has a D20 dice, like from D&D. Here you can see on his wall, there's a poster for Puddle of Mush, which is just a play on the band Puddle of Mud. Music seems to be Barley's kind of passion, and that extends to the like stereotypical van that he has.
The band van.
The band van, yeah.
Of course.
So in his license plate over here, you can kind of make out most of it, and it says Guinevere, which is a reference to King Arthur's wife. And then also in the van, it's really hard to see, but if you zoom in here, it says Siren on the radio, which is a reference to the sirens, this mythical creature. A couple more from this convenience store that they go to. There's a lot in here. Some of the ones that we liked were the Misty Light, which with a mountain on top, so reference to the Misty Mountains from Lord of the Rings, and then some others, Cloak and Cola, Orange Quest for Orange Crush.
I just want to add that they played with Old English throughout the trailer, and their cup is in wee size and giant size.
But they also have just medium over here.
Yeah, okay, there is medium. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
There's a recurring one in this shot where this punk pixie creature is holding triple dent gum, which has appeared in Toy Story and in Inside Out. There's also a potential reference to Weekend at Bernie's. And then the last one to talk about here, they pull out this book. It says Quests of Yore on the front. And then when they open it up, you can see it's actually a D&D guidebook. It seems that D&D is a thing in their world, even though it's a fantasy world. So it's fun to see where they'll take that premise.
Yeah, that's really fun.
Nate, what did you want to talk about today?
Right, so this week, I think it's the perfect time to talk about Bong Joon-Ho.
Yeah.
You know, Parasite is having a limited release, but the reception is amazing. Tickets are being sold out. People are talking about it. And it is the Palme d'Or winner of this year, which is, you know, the winner of Cannes Film Festival. And he is one of my favorite filmmakers, and I think one of the best filmmakers to work in like our modern time. And the clip that I brought today is from the movie Mother, which is a Korean film. This scene in particular, I think, is one of his greatest, just because it is such a good scene that just embodies what the film is about. Yeah, so this is actually very early on in the film. And it's very simple. It's basically about the mother. She's sort of like chopping up hay. That's sort of her work. And while she's doing it, she looks out the window and watches sort of like her son goofing with another guy who's sort of a bad influence, and like they're standing in the middle of the road. All these things are just like passing by, and we see the blade just getting closer and closer to her hand. And the suspense from that is incredible. And he does that by, you know, like some of the most basic editing techniques, which is he really speeds it up as the blade is cutting closer and closer towards the hand until he like almost gets hit by a car, and then we just get a series of shots here, and just it's such a dynamic scene that just shows what he's capable of, and also shows, you know, like thematically how she's so worried about her son that she doesn't really care about the possibility of her hand being chopped off. It's just such a metaphorically a beautiful scene. And one thing that I want to note is how most of these are on eye levels. And Bong Joon-Ho is known for this. A lot of like the cameras are on eye level. In this instance, you know, her crouching down on the floor, so we sort of look at her son from below to up. And that's sort of to make the audiences relate. And that's why, actually, if you watch a lot of his movies, except in certain occasions, he doesn't use extremely drastic shots, like from really below, from really above. It's mostly just constantly on the eye level, and even when she's like, you know, outside and tending to her son, everything is almost just eye level constantly to give that emphasis on characters and people. I think the reason why his scenes are so coherent and so good is because he's known to be a good storyboarder, right?
Yeah, he in fact doesn't shoot coverage, and he relies on his storyboards a lot. Directors shooting coverage, that means they'll have a couple different camera angles so that when they're editing, they have options to shoot from either like a really close up or a little further away. Right. But he draws everything out in storyboards and only films that.
Just what he needs.
Just what he needs. Wow. So very rarely will he shoot any coverage.
Because like coverage, I think some modern directors like kind of overdo it.
Yeah.
Like I'm sort of thinking about that scene from Thomas Crown Affair where the two are playing chess and there's just like inserts after inserts and just one overhead and all sort of it. I mean, if used well, I think it's good, but like it's very surprising that he does that.
Yeah, it's definitely very unusual. They made a book about Okja, another of Bong Joon-Ho's movies, and in the book there's a couple pages that show some of the storyboards. So I just want to take a look at this one. It lays out this short sequence of events. Storyboards also allow for some technical notes to be thrown in along with just the image of what the camera's going to be capturing. So for example here it says Steadicam and then a lot of arrows as well to help convey movement, to help show kind of what the camera's going to be moving, what the characters are going to be moving within frame. So in this storyboard, this takes place right after Okja has been taken from her giant pig that she's been caring for 10 years. So let's take a look at the scene here. She figures out that Okja has been taken. Right here, that's the first shot. So if we pause, it's pretty similar to that first storyboard. Steadicam, showing her running, following her as the arrows indicate with the camera movement. And right here, we get the cool sliding shot down the hill that he, again, storyboarded. And then we're going to get the close-up of her face here. And then her feet moving with the Steadicam movement, showing she's slowing down a little bit, but still moving forward. Here's that windy road, and as you said, it's a wide, and then with the pan of the camera, the slow pan to the left. And then finally, this last shot here in the storyboard of her arriving over this overlook and seeing that the Okja in the van is off in the distance.
Yeah. Wow. So he had everything planned out. We often use like the term visionary a lot when discussing good directors, but I think this is it just shows how visionary of a director he is.
So El Camino came out this past weekend, and we just wanted to quickly highlight one Easter egg that we thought was great that maybe only super fans would have caught. So in this scene here, Jesse's in a diner, and if you look at the floor right here, there's two miscolored tiles, and they're in the shape of the Breaking Bad title.
That is an amazing detail.
So our team actually broke down a bunch of other really interesting Easter eggs from El Camino, and you can watch that video if you go to our YouTube page. So that was it for this episode. We'll see you next time.
I was gonna somehow add that like how different directors approach storyboard differently, because Werner Herzog said storyboards are for cowards, but I don't think that's relevant.